Assalamualaikum and a very good morning. My name is Nur Bazila Balkis binti Nordin, and today I would like to present about the introduction to the primary and secondary particulate matter pollutants. So, particulate matter can be defined as a mixture of solid particles and liquid droplets found in the air. Some particles such as dust, dirt, soot or smoke are large or dark enough to be seen with the naked eyes. Others are so small so they can only be detected using an electron microscope. It can be divided into two types, which are the primary pollutants and secondary pollutants. For primary pollutants, it can be defined as the pollutants that are emitted directly into the environment from a source. For examples are dust, soot, fly ash, droplets, and aerosols. So basically, primary pollutants mostly are PM10 and above. For secondary pollutants, these pollutants are not emitted directly from a source like vehicles or power plants. Instead, they form as a result of the pollutants that are emitted from these sources reacting with molecules in the atmosphere. Secondary pollutants are concerning as they can be formed from many different compounds such as the ozone, sulfuric acid, nitric acid, nitrogen dioxide, and peroxyl acyl nitrates. Basically, secondary pollutants mostly are high in PM 2.5 level.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Shafiq Mabroshidi and I will explain about sources of primary and secondary particulate matter. First, what is particulate matter? Particulate matter or PM is the general term used to describe solid particle and liquid droplets found in the air. The composition and the size of these airborne particles and droplets vary. Some particles are large enough to be seen as dust or dirt, while others are so small they can only be seen by using a powerful microscope. Particulate matter can be emitted directly or formed in the atmosphere. What is primary particulate matter? Primary particles are those released directly to the atmosphere. Example of sources: these include dust from the roads and black or elemental carbon from combustion sources. In general, coarse particulate matter is a composed large or primary particle. Secondary particles, on the other hand, are formed in the atmosphere from a chemical reaction. Next, sources of secondary particulate matter. As I told before, secondary particles are formed in the atmosphere from chemical reaction involving primary gaseous emission. This secondary pollutant includes SOx, NOx, and VOC. And lastly, ammonia. This precursor pollutant will interact with the atmospheric gases such as ammonia and hydroxide. The reaction with the help of sunlight and water particles help to produce the secondary particulate matter. Example of sources includes sulfate from sulfur dioxide emission from a power plant, an industrial facility, and nitrate from nitrogen oxides released from power plants, and mobile source and other combustion sources.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Siti Nurzulaikha Nurina binti Zaini. So I will present about the effect of particulate matter pollutant to human health. So inhalations of particulate pollutions can have adverse effect to human health. Exposure to high concentration of particulate matter pollutant can make worse of lung and heart conditions. Children and elderly and those with predisposed respiratory and cardiovascular disease are known to be more susceptible to the health impact from air pollution. Significantly, particulate matter pollutant can either from primary or secondary can affect human life. As shown in slide, it can cause respiration problem, cardiovascular, and also can cause cancer mortality. First of all, particulate matter can cause cardiovascular disease. This is due to the result of combinations of carbon monoxide with offensive byproduct from automobile exhaust. The human can also develop atherosclerotic heart disease, which sometimes having a higher carboxyhemoglobin concentrations. Okay, the usual disease that refer to the cardiovascular disease are a premature death due to the heart disease, non-fatal heart attack, and also irregular heartbeat. Secondly, particulate matter pollutant also can affect the respiratory system of human. Okay, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease is occurred due to the presence of particulate matter tent that play a significant role in the COPD infection particularly. Okay, pollutants such as sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, and nitrogen dioxide are the active factor for the COPD. Most likely, symptoms are affected human due to the exposure of particulate matter pollutant can cause difficulty in breathing, irritations at nose and throat, and exposure in high level of particulate matter, people can start to feel breathless and cough. Asthma is also one of the respiratory problem that can influenced by air pollution and heredity. Smoke and dust within the agrarian area where vehicular activity is most concentrated contribute to the risk of asthma. Lastly, the effect of particulate matter pollutant can cause cancer mortality. Cancer particulate matter are major cause of chronic and acute respiratory disease that sometimes lead to cancer. This depends on the chemical composition of particulate matter. Okay, they irritate the nose, eyes, and lungs of human. This is mainly to the cigarette smoke and incomplete combustions of motor vehicle exhaust. The black carbon parts of PM 2.5, which result from the incomplete combustions of motor, attract the attentions of air quality community owing to the evidence for its contributions to the detrimental effects on human health. Okay, recently, the exhaust from diesel was classified by International Agency for Research on Cancer as a carcinogenic to human. Most particulate matter from secondary pollutant likely mixings of sulfuric acid that suspended in the air with rain and form rain acid. Okay, this also can cause skin cancer.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Sabrina binti Ilyas and I would like to present about effect primary and secondary air particulate matter pollutants to environment. First is visibility impairment. Fine particles are the main cause of reduced visibility in parts of the United States, including many of treasured national parks and wilderness areas. One of the most basic forms of air pollution is haze, which it can degrade visibility in many cities and scenic areas. Haze is caused when sunlight encounters tiny pollution particles in the air, which reduce the clarity and color, especially during humid conditions. Second is environmental damage. Particles can be carried over long distance by wind and then settle on ground or water. Depending on their chemical composition, the effects of this settling may include changing the nutrient balance in coastal waters and large river basins, also contributing to acid rain effects. The ecological effects of acid rain are most clearly seen in aquatic environments such as streams, lakes, and marshes, where it can be harmful to fish and other wildlife. As it flows through soil, acidic rainwater can leach aluminium from soil clay particles and then flow into streams and lakes. Third is materials damage. Particulate matter can cause stain and damage stone, also other materials, including naturally important objects such as statues and monuments. When acid rain and dry acidic particles fall to earth, the nitric and sulfuric acid that make the particles acidic can land on statues, buildings, and other man-made structures and damage their surface. The acidic particles corrode metals and cause paint and stone to deteriorate more quickly. They also dirty surface of building and other structures such as monuments. Lastly is climate effects. Climate effects was including volcanoes, weather drought, rainfall declines, and global dimming. For volcanoes, erupting volcanoes eject large quantities of particulates including volcanic ash and gases into the atmosphere. Volcanic eruptions have been directly associated with climate change since studies begin. Next is weather. Particulate are thought to affect weather on the regional scale and have been linked to the failure of the Indian monsoon due to suppression of levels of evaporation of water from the Indian Ocean. Next, for drop, aerosol has and particulates are believed to be pushing tropical rainfall southward, leading to a number of droughts across the world. Droughts worldwide have been occurring much more often since recording began. Rainfall declines in Australia have led researchers to believe the increase of pollutants from Asia and have shifted multi-latitude systems southward. Lastly is global dimming. Reductions in the Earth's direct irradiance have led researchers to believe that the increase in particulates in the atmosphere. Global dimming also creates a cooling effect, counteracting the heating of the ground gases. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Fazlin Sakina binti Muhammad Tarmizi. Today I would explain about the control technology that available in industry. Okay, so what is control technology? Control technology stands for devices which use to control, regulate, monitor and diagnose. For the first devices which available in industry known as scrubbers. For the dry scrubbers, it refers to as a neutralizing chemical agent such as a sodium bicarbonate that go into the emission stream, and it will causing the gases pollutant contained within to undergo a chemical reaction which either neutralizes the pollutant or converts them into inaqüous substances. It also helps to reduce the acidity of emissions and remove the air pollutants. While for the wet scrubbers, it refers as a wet absorption or wet collectors. It also used to collect and remove water-soluble gas and particulate pollutants from industrial emissions. The wet scrubbing process either passes a gas stream through a liquid solution or injects a liquid solution into a gas stream. The second devices which known as the air filters. It used to control air pollution which employ a specific type of filtration media such as fabric, sintered metal and ceramic. Air filters been divided into 4 different types which are HEPA filters, fabric filters, cartridge dust collectors and cyclones. For HEPA filters, it known as high efficiency particulate air filters which employ fiberglass filter mats to mechanically remove airborne particulates such as pollen, smoke, dust and other biocontaminants from the environment. For fabric filters, it refers as the baghouses which employ cylindrical fabric bags to trap and remove airborne, dust and other particulates. Dust collector, it will utilize cartridge filters rather than filter bags which to collect and remove airborne dust and other particulates. Lastly, for the cyclones, it used to separate dry particulate matter from gases emission, and also it will utilize centrifugal force to collect and remove particulates. The third devices which known as electrostatic precipitator. These control devices used to collect and remove particulate matter such as dust from industrial emissions and exhaust. Electrostatic precipitator employ transformers to create high static electrical potential difference between charging electrodes and collecting plates. Next, devices also known as a mist collector. It is used to remove moisture and vapor such as smoke, oil, and mist that come from the gas stream. Lastly, the control device known as incinerators, which it employ combustion methods to break down pollutants into non-toxic byproducts.
So, as a conclusion, primary and secondary air particulate matter pollutants can bring many harmful effects either to the environment or humans, such as it can cause the global warming and can be poisonous and cancerous to humans at higher level of exposure. Therefore, some precautionary steps have been taken by the government in order to control the emissions. For example, the enforcement of law on the usage of electrostatic precipitators in factories. That's all from me. Thank you.